So let me just start. I had this rain system in 2008, and the way it works, I'm going to just tell you every tip as I come across it. I put this here so raccoons or animals won't chew on the pipes when they find a little drip. Okay, so that's just one tip, but let me show you how it's made. So at the bottom of the barrel, we have these 1/2-inch screw nipples. They're for drip irrigation lines, but they work really well. So you get a tapping tool and you tap this, screw it in, and you tee to all the other barrels at the bottom. And then on each single stack of barrels, you make one of these. I used a spring inside this during COVID because I didn't want to go to the store, and I just melted it. Make sure this is sloped down so you don't get air locked in here. Now, you can buy the elbows like I did here, but make sure both of them are kind of sloped down a little, so you might want to drill this in at an angle, which is hard to do. It's easier to bend these into a slope because you can heat it up while it's on here and kind of pull it down when it's dry. Okay, now here's another thing I did. This will be just episode 1. This is just everything I can think of within arm's reach. I put a little piece of wood inside here. It's hanging into the water to about right here. And this keeps track of the level of water. The higher it is, the lower the water level. Now I use some coax cable. You can use anything. I stick it in a hole up here, and I use one of these clickies to mark where the water is. Why do I do that? Because I want to know how much I'm using or if I'm leaking. Now, over the past 3 weeks, I noticed this going up, 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 like this much every week. Now, you might not think that's a lot, but when you have 17 barrels, an inch is 50 gallons. About 50 gallons. I think that's right. So I was losing 50 gallons in a whole barrel. So this will conclude episode 1, but what I did was I checked for leaks around all the connections by touching. I dig in there, I feel any drips, I let it dry out, see if it's still wet the next day. There was nothing wet, I couldn't figure it out. So the next thing I realized, this has happened before, is you will get a leak. It'll be wet inside here. Put some little spacers when you stack one on the other. That way, your second barrel is not putting all of its weight on these caps. These caps, bunghole caps, are the weak point in the system. Eventually they'll leak. You want to keep the sun off of them. You don't want the other barrel sitting on top of them. And you want to put some Teflon on the seal when you seal it so it's nice and lubricated when you screw it. If you screw too tight, you'll ruin the bung cap. You won't notice it until it leaks in a month or a year or 2 years or 5 years. I have a feeling that water got in here and froze and expanded it or something. So what you could do is crumble a piece of aluminum with some space to take up some airspace. Something that, I don't know, maybe that wouldn't work. When it freezes, it can shrink a little bit. I don't think aluminum would work unless you had little air bubbles in the aluminum. So today I replaced this cap, and what I did was I drained the top one into my downhill, and then I capped this bottom one off. Now the pressure is still going from this one all the way down over to here, up here, and it's trying to come out these caps. So when you dry it off, use a towel, get it nice and clean. And then what I did was I shook the barrel a little, and I could see air spitting out of here, water and air spitting out of here, because there was a little break in the bunghole seal. It comes on the white part upside down. Let me show you that. Now this one is in pretty good condition. It's still about 50 15 years old, but it's been in my garage, out of the sun and in a cool spot. But what will happen is this, see, there's the plastic and there's the white, I don't know, rubber gasket. And you want to clean that off very well before you install these. Clean it off with some clean water and also clean off the seal inside on the black barrel. Oh, while I'm talking about black barrels last longer than blue ones. Blue ones last forever. White ones will not last more than 2 summers. Don't bother getting a white one unless you're going to have it in a very shady spot. I've never been successful with white barrels. Okay, that's it for today. I'll teach you more later. Bye.